the gym yesterday. I don't know if the camera was just on or not. I finally seen there was a delay, but I was just saying I sound a little funny. More like incense and sage at the gym yesterday while I was cleaning. Because I felt like it. But I was sitting here meditating for a while on what to talk about. I have a lot of notes in my phone, like titles of things I can just expand on. But none of them seemed like the moment. So I pulled some cards and asked Spirit the best way I could show up for you. What's the topic? Okay. And I really rolled my eyes because I don't really want to talk about this. But these were my cards. It's the first one I pulled. Then I pulled this one. So they really want me to be talking about separation of relationship. Whether that be divorce, breakups, separating a household, any friendships, any type of loss of relationship. And I have not unique, but I have my own experiences. I think everybody has their shit. Bob Marley said it best. Every man thinks that his burden is the heaviest, and who feels it knows it. So, that means it's relative. Pain is relative. Your pain is relative to your worst nightmare. My pain is relative to my worst nightmare, but that doesn't mean that, from my perspective, your pain is my worst nightmare. But it's not about that. When I listen to you, I have to just listen to your perspective and understand you from where you're coming from. But, so my own unique experience has value. I was married for 12 years. I got married when I was 18. I met him online, which was weird for 2003. And I only knew him for 5 months before we actually got married. He begged me and 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 begged me to marry him. When I mean begged, it was practically since the beginning of me meeting him and whatever. It was nonstop. But I talk about the dissolution part of this relationship in a long form video that I have available for sale for $25 if you want to hear about the end of the relationship in depth. But my whole point for talking about this segment is not the hot tea part of the divorce, but more about doing divorce in a less damaging way. I think it's a bad word, because when I tell people that I was divorced or have been divorced or I was married at one point and we got divorced, their first reaction is one of deep concern, and then they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Because they assume the worst. So that's why I'm sitting here talking about destigmatizing divorce. I know a lot of couples, a lot of clients, and otherwise, that are dealing with sudden relationship disruptions. So I feel like this, unfortunately, is extremely well timed. We have the North Node in Aries calling us to be on the more individualized side of things, and the South Node in Libra would be dissolving of legal contracts, and that would involve things like marriage, relationships that are just being called out for not having integrity. Like, you guys, I'm sorry for coughing. I've used both of my rescue inhalers. I have 2 different kinds, and I don't know. That sage must have hit, but I walked it around the gym a couple times, and I burned cinnamon too because it was the first. So I don't know, but please tolerate my coughing occasionally. It was important to me to approach a dissolution in the respects of my own relationship with honor, and to do it with a sense of ease, because that's the way I do things. I didn't want to create an enemy type situation. I didn't want subterfuge. I didn't want people lashing out at each other and ruining each other's lives. My parents' divorce was pretty ugly. And a lot of people suffered, and it was expensive, and the DA got involved, and I didn't want things to get complicated. So I was living alone in Seattle, basically, because the 2-bedroom apartment we were supposed to be sharing was just me in it most of the time after a certain point, because my ex was dating other people real quick. And I had the place to myself, so I was getting in depth with myself quite quickly. I'm reassessing some of the things I should say. We did do couples therapy on the way out. It was something that we were not successful at doing during the relationship, but we used it as a tool for finding a mutual understanding before I left. And it was one of the best things I've ever done. When we actually filed, it was joint filing, so it was, walking up to the judge together and equally separating at the time. We claimed no assets, no property for 12 years. And we figured out a way to separate our 3 cats in a way that was the most healthy for us. I took 2, he took 1. All the cats have passed away since then, so there's no real reason for us to talk at this time. Or for me to ask anything from him. But like maybe once a year, we'll talk to each other briefly over text. Because, there's really nothing else to talk about. But, when you fall out of sync with somebody like that, you really fall out of sync. There's a whole bunch of chunks of information that I'm missing. If you want to hear more of the nitty gritty, go watch that video. DM me. We can talk about me sending you that link after we get a payment going for more of the ins and outs of why I broke up with my ex-husband on his birthday. But yeah, I wound up getting to a point where once we had the papers and they were official, we were officially divorced. One of my other criteria was I wanted to get my gold tooth installed. It was a root canal, and I wanted to get my tooth fixed. So they had to shave my jaw down and do surgery on me, and then place the crown. Also, so by the time all that was completed, the papers ran through court, and we were official, and I got on an airplane with 2 old-fashioned army duffel bags. And I flew to my dad, and I've been living with him ever since. But there comes a time when you fall out of sync, when you start falling in sync with yourself. You really do fall out of sync with things that are not meant for you, things that aren't true to your nature. I also will say, energy doesn't go away. It changes. Energy in the form of love. You can have love for somebody, but it can change from they're my lover to I love them as a person, but I don't have any desire to be with them or around them, respectfully. So I want to say divorce does not have to be ugly. It can just change the energy between people. It can signify the change of energy that already has taken place. It's just ugly because most of the time the general populace thinks of the word as ugly because they had a childhood experience where people got vindictive and they were lashing out at each other. But even just regular breakups don't have to go there. They don't even have to be as ugly as ghosting every single time. Some rare, I don't really like to ghost, but when I do, it's because it was really bad. And there was no way of talking to somebody with sanity or rationalizing with them clearly. Why'd my watch go off? Oh, it's saying, you need more steps. If I hadn't pulled cards, I wouldn't be talking about this topic. It's very uncomfortable. But I came down with 2 army duffel bags. Scared as fuck. With a house full of stuff still in Seattle. Not knowing if he'd ever get my things back to me or actually bring the cats, even. Eventually he did. It took a long time. But, I got the cats back, and we had some great years left together. And eventually got all the stuff back too. For the most part, there's still things that I don't know where they are, but I don't feel any shame involved with having a dissolved relationship. I do feel that it's easy to get stuck in the mindset that it's a failure, but I truly don't believe it is. I feel like success has different colors than we were led to believe. And it was 12 years, so it was like a timer went off. I like to say, like school's out, time to graduate. And when you start, I was meditating a lot more towards the end, and I was starting to meet myself and starting to notice my body's visceral reaction to certain things and things I couldn't be partaking in anymore. And the more I stood by that, because it's something who loves themselves would do, the more things fell away naturally. So I would say have trust in it. It might be afraid. It might be scary right now. You might be afraid. But doing right by yourself, betting on yourself is never the wrong move. These are so dry by now. I'm sitting here talking. Betting on yourself is never the wrong move. Ever. Trusting yourself is never the wrong move. It gets scary, of course, because the unknown is so large. But just because it's unknown doesn't mean it's bad, and that's something we really need to learn. The unknown doesn't mean bad. So, destigmatizing divorce is really destigmatizing the unknown It's destigmatizing choosing yourself over momentum. Choosing yourself over momentum is what divorce could be. You know, there's always the other scenarios, but the divorces that are happening more now, mine was about 7 years ago, almost 8. You know, I feel like I was on the cusp of a new wave. I usually always experience things ahead of time. I believe the divorces that I'm seeing now with my clients, etc., are more friendship based. People are figuring out how to work out the fine details. And I'm really proud of us for doing that, for realizing that we can still be civilized while consciously severing a relationship. So that's how I could show up for you guys today. These cards asked me to talk about it. The bottom of the deck is the Emperor, which is exactly what I was just covering. Choosing yourself over momentum. Can't make this up. Just trusting what the cards told me to say. It's Sunday. I'm still doing an oil treatment on my hair. I've decided to do 2 days because this temperature fluctuation bullshit that we're doing, and like cold in the mornings, hot in the later part of the day, is wrecking my hair. So I wanted to give it a little extra love. But divorce can be just as loving as getting into a relationship. But the feeling of love does act differently on the way out than it does going in. It's a different style. It's grace. It's grace. It's full of grace. It can be anyway. If you work hard. But anyway, I'm going to take off. I need to eat some breakfast. I hope this reaches somebody, touches their heart. This was the right thing for you to hear. I decided to put on my carnelian owl. And this has my moldavite and my eubrolite. So it's a little powerful chain right now. Manifesting my highest good. And I'm manifesting your highest good as well. So much love to you guys. Happy Sunday. Don't be afraid of vibration. We live in a fractal universe. We are all daydreaming all at once. Read the 4 agreements. Understand that it's just all music. Everything has a timing and a step and a rhythm. And if you're falling out of timing and steps and rhythm with somebody, then you need to fall in with yourself and your own rhythms all over again. I will never tell you to find your source of strength from an external source. It's always going to be from here, from within. You have the keys. Not me. I pointed at me, but, you understand. You have the keys. I also find it offensive when people are, like, pointing at the camera like, you. Ugh. Ugh. I don't know. Not everybody, but certain people. It just seems accusatory, so I'll use myself as an example all the time. Anyway, I'm gonna go cook myself some eggs. It's 8 o'clock. I love you guys. Please take care. Please be gentle with each other on the way out.